All right, happy Monday. Welcome to ACIM Talks with Reverend Jim. And it's good to see everybody here tonight. It's May already. Boy, the year's getting near half over. And May 13th. And so I'm happy to be here. You all got the agenda for tonight. And we're trying to attempt another two-parter where we devote the first part of our hour together, this time to A Course in Miracles Oracle Text Reading. And then for the second part, I'd like to get back to Unity and A Course in Miracles, our book study by William Heller and Paul Hasselbeck. Do you have any comments or questions, anyone, before we get started?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, on my part, I guess I'd just like to share tonight's inspiration. I got on my University of Michigan shirt tonight because I am feeling so blessed that I just wanted to share this with you. I think you guys can appreciate it. Off and on, for some serendipitous reason, I've had a work assignments with the University of Michigan. This is since maybe 2015. And I come from a management background in healthcare administration. And so, I don't know, I just really appreciate like the University of Michigan, and I'm not putting it out there as the end all and be all, but it's at a certain level where, from a management perspective, I can see a well-run organization. Started in 1817, though.
Wow.
But it does go to show what 200 years of good management should look like. We're an impressive organization, so I've got a very small part of that working at University of Michigan Productions, but you just get this certain pride of being part of a big organization that does so many things right. So that's my speech on it. And Spirit saw the sweatshirt, and Spirit said, "That grab that, you wear that tonight." So that's why I have it on.
Nice.
I guess if there's nothing else, let's get into our studies here tonight. In our Course in Miracles Oracle Text Reading, we are on chapter 3, and we were in section Roman numeral 4, Error and the Ego. And I show we left off. Oh, by the way, Kathleen said she might be late, so we're still expecting her.
Thank you.
Page 42, paragraph 4. So why don't we get our reading list, and let's just try and pick up where we left off and see if that'll be a satisfying start, or if we need to go back and refresh. Sherilyn, would you be our first reader? And then Debbie, and Dee is number 3, Joan is 4, Ron is 5. I'll be 6, if that's all right. So
Would you
yes.
I am not sure where we are. We're in the major
Page
textbook.
42 in the text.
Okay, well, mine is sort of in the middle of something at this point. Did
Yes,
we leave?
it's paragraph 4.
Okay, gotcha.
Starts right-mindedness.
Yes. Yes. Okay, you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay. Right-mindedness is not to be confused with the knowing mind because it is applicable only to right perception. You can be right-minded or wrong-minded, and even this is subject to degrees, clearly demonstrating that knowledge is not involved. The term right-mindedness is properly used as the correction for wrong-mindedness and applies to the state of mind that induces accurate perception. It is miracle-minded because it heals misperception, and this is indeed a miracle in view of how you perceive yourself.
Thank you. Let's do one more. Deb, you want to read 5?
Okay. Perception always involves some misuse of mind because it brings the mind into areas of uncertainty. The mind is very active. When it chooses to be separated, it chooses, to perceive. Until then, it wills only to know. Afterwards, it can only choose ambiguously, and the only way out of ambiguity is clear perception. The mind returns to its proper function only when it wills to know. This places it in the service of spirit, whose perception is changed. The mind chooses to divide itself when it chooses to make its own levels. But it could not entirely separate itself from spirit because it is from spirit that it derives its whole power to make or create. Even in miscreation, the mind is affirming its source, or it would merely cease to be. This is impossible because the mind belongs to spirit, which God created and which is therefore eternal.
That was rather a mouthful.
Mhm.
Anything stand out right now? Who's confused?
I'm confused.
I'm confused.
I'm also purple again. This is the first time this has happened in months.
We got that's okay. It's a filter setting, you know? Go right ahead. You're fine.
Well, there's the mind of spirit, mind with a capital M, and then there's little mind. I always think of that as ego mind.
Yes.
But this is saying, even in miscreation, the mind is affirming its source. It sounds like ego is connected to spirit. I don't get it.
Yeah. Why don't we start at the beginning and see if we can get some basic understanding. Like the very first thing it said, as a matter of fact, it struck me. I put it at the top of the agenda, the phrase of the week kind of thing. Do you see it? It says,
Where are you?
right-mindedness is not to be confused with the knowing mind. So let's start there.
Okay.
In grammar, what would right be in the phrase right-mindedness?
The opposite of wrong-mindedness.
The opposite, yeah.
So if we
Mhm.
took mindfulness, what does the word right do? Isn't it an adjective?
Yes.
So we're further dividing mindfulness
It's
with
right,
the
right.
adjective, aren't we?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Already we're violating the law of reality. Like, how could there be a right mind if there's only one mind?
Well, it's not, they're saying it's not real, it's perception still. It's not knowledge. It's not part of reality.
So right from the beginning, we've started operating in illusions, which is the realm of perception.
Mhm.
Already we've lost knowledge and are operating in perception, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
So what would a loving Holy Spirit do? Remember, you love what you made. You chose it. You preferred it. You liked it. Who's with me?
Yes.
Okay.
Love understands that you love what you made. So it doesn't come in and trash your stuff.
Right.
That's attack, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
So it has to use unusual strategies, unique strategies to us. So here's what Spirit said. All right, since you love them, I'll transform what their purpose is. I'll give you the ability, since you believe in perception, to at least take a right-minded perception instead of a wrong-minded perception.
Okay.
But make no doubt about it, neither of them is knowing.
Can we know in this realm?
Absolutely not.
Okay, right. So that's not even a choice here.
But we can connect with something that does. That's the middle person we call the Holy Spirit, the guide, the nurturer. So while we can't know, we can base our right-minded perception on a guide who does know.
Okay.
Are we doing?
And this
Okay.
all is occurring in
struggling.
illusion, correct?
I'm sorry, Joan, say that. I couldn't hear. We couldn't hear you.
This is all occurring in the illusion.
He's
in the
using
dream.
the illusions themselves that you do believe in, even though they're not real. He's transformed them into a more productive dream, like a happy dream instead of a miserable dream. It's still a dream,
Okay.
but it's a dream now headed in a better direction.
Okay.
Remember that section in the text called the two pictures? And one was heavily framed with fake diamonds and rubies and jewels and dressing up the pig. because the actual picture, you wouldn't want it. But the other side was a very lightly framed picture, so your attention was on the picture. It wasn't disguised, it was honest, it was genuine, and it was beautiful. Didn't need a frame. Both were perceptions, but one of them was helpful. One of them was preparation for answering our prayers of awakening. So first, I'll change how you dream. I'll change your perception as a prelude for a gentle awakening, because I can't do anything but gentle awakenings. How am I doing?
Can I ask a question? Is that what we're talking about? We get to sentence 6 in paragraph 5. The mind returns to its proper function only when it wills to know.
That is correct.
This places it in the spirit, the service of spirit.
I don't use my mind. I use spirit.
Spirit. Okay.
A knowing mind, not a perceiver, not one prone to mistakes, not one that's uncertain, one that always works. Maybe you think it's insulting for someone to say, don't use your mind. And yet, there is another mind. How many brothers and sisters don't even believe the reality of a universal mind? They think this stuff happens at random, by coincidence, or which is another excuse for not knowing. You call it a coincidence. But if the fundamental law of cause and effect, here we are at cause and effect again, is right? Nothing can happen without a cause. Nothing is at random. There are no coincidences. Now, I'll just put it out there. You do the math. How can you say cause and effect and then negate it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was thinking, to say, okay, don't use your mind. It's like saying, okay, let's,
Yes.
everybody here, let's not think of an elephant, right?
Yes.
And can we think about
That's
anything else then?
That's our nature. And
Yeah.
it is all, but, I want you to see this teaching technique. It's a nuance, but see it here. Remember the one in the early parts of the text where Jesus says, you don't tell a child, don't touch the stove or you'll get burned or something like that. You don't say what not to do. You say, do only this. So it's not dissing anything. It's just saying, just accenting the positive, telling you what to do, and not bothering to tell you what not to do. It's a lot more efficient, isn't it? Is that helping with your question? Who is it, Debbie?
Yeah. So I'm like, he knows perfectly well we're going to go to the mind. God knows his children, if we're his children, doesn't he?
How could
Well,
he not know everything and not know? How could he know everything and not know us?
right.
More comments from anybody or questions? I know we only did the first sentence, but I put that at the top of your agenda because I thought you might want to talk about it. Anything else? We were on paragraphs 4 and 5, and to me, they're like, here, let's go back to no, we did sentence 6, paragraph 5, right? How about sentence 10? Even in miscreation, the mind is affirming its source, or it would merely cease to be. What does that mean to you, my friends?
That's what puzzles me, that sentence.
Do you see how we're connected here tonight? Listen, for good or evil, whatever the hell it is, we are powerful. And wherever we got that power, it is powerful. How are we doing? Is that what they taught you in church?
Not
It
really.
just,
In
to
church,
me,
they
made it,
tell me I'm a poor, miserable sinner.
yes. And
Right.
they taught you that God was this dude on the throne with a crown and a robe. That was what I came out of it with. Had on costumes and fancy stuff and lived in oh God, the Roman. No offense to the Catholics. The point is, God is not material. How could he be everywhere at once and be in a body? These are things that didn't make sense to me as a little boy. Not quite, but I figured it was just because I was young and stupid. Or I wasn't afraid to. So I just accepted the elders, didn't you?
Yep.
Until you grew up and your questions started coming out more. But Joe, that's to me is what sentence 10 is talking about. But what does 11 say? This is impossible? What's impossible?
Since the mind belongs to spirit, which God created.
So how can you have miscreated when it all belongs to spirit, which is eternal? It means no changes. You can have variations and enhancements and spin-offs, but you can't change the fundamental cause from which all reality comes. How are we doing here? Let's do a couple more, all right? I'm up to D. We're on 6.
The ability to perceive made the body possible because you must perceive something and with something. That is why perception involves an exchange or translation, which knowledge does not need. The interpretive function of perception, a distorted form of creation, then permits you to interpret the body as yourself in an attempt to escape from the conflict you have induced. Spirit, which knows, could not be reconciled with this loss of power because it is incapable of darkness. This makes spirit almost inaccessible to the mind and entirely inaccessible to the body. Thereafter, spirit is perceived as a threat because light abolishes darkness merely by showing you it is not there. Truth will always overcome error in this way. This cannot be an active process of correction because, as I have already emphasized, knowledge does not do anything. It can be perceived as an attacker, but it cannot attack. What you perceive as its attack is your own vague recognition that knowledge can always be remembered, never having been destroyed.
And why don't we finish this section, okay? We're up to Joan with 7, and then we'll.
Ron.
Who's next, right? Is it Joan or Ron?
Joan, okay. Yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
it's Joan.
Okay.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, God and his creations remain in surety, and therefore know that no miscreation exists. Truth cannot deal with errors that you want. I was a man who remembered spirit and its knowledge. As a man, I did not attempt to counteract error with knowledge, but to correct error from the bottom up. I demonstrated both the powerlessness of the body and the power of the mind. By uniting my will with that of my Creator, I naturally remembered spirit and its real purpose. I cannot unite your will with God's for you, but I can erase all misperceptions from your mind if you will bring it under my guidance. Only your misperceptions stand in your way. Without them, your choice is certain. Sane perception induces sane choosing. I cannot choose for you, but wait a minute, my pages are stuck. I cannot choose for you, but I can help you make your own right choice. Many are called, but few are chosen, should be. All are called, but few choose to listen. Therefore, they do not choose right. The chosen ones are merely those who choose right sooner. Right minds can do this now, and they will find rest unto their souls. God knows you only in peace, and this is your reality.
Thanks, Joan. How about sentence 11? How come Jesus cannot choose for you? Do you see it?
Jesus gave us
I-
free will.
Yes, the hallmark of love. Excellent. Do you see how this is a natural barrier to love, or so it would seem? Love cannot violate its own rules. It cannot attack. It can do a lot of things, but it cannot attack and have integrity, right?
Mhm.
So it has no choice but to do solutions that are win-win, that respects our free will. Do you see that running through? So hopefully that'll answer some questions about why things seem to be done the way that they are. The hindrance to love is attack, if you want to call it that. But since love is already all there is, what the hell can attack it? it becomes meaningless. The hindrance is meaningless in and of itself. How am I doing?
Mhm.
Okay, who's speechless?
Me.
In a good way?
Yeah, I guess I have to process it a little more.
Which part?
Just the general,
System
Uh,
overload?
pardon?
System overload? That kind of thing?
No, it's just that I have to get into it more, and I believe what you're saying. I believe that that's true, but I still have to mull it over to make sure I understand it. That's all.
All right, I would just say while you're mulling it over, I point out an important principle.
Okay.
Mulling it over is a strategy of the ego.
Go.
It can't be much clearer, can it?
No.
And yet we doubt ourselves. Do you see the technique? I only use you as an example. I don't mean to be offensive at all. But this is what we're used to doing. The Holy Spirit accepts and the ego analyzes. You read that? Or maybe it's the other way around. The ego analyzes and the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit accepts. So I
Accepts. Yeah.
just caution you, don't get deceived, okay?
Mhm.
Because while we're analyzing it, we can't be doing it. Do you all see what I mean by that? I'm not
Yeah.
picking on Sherilyn. I'm picking on all of us. It is a practice. It's not necessarily hard, but it is so different, and I have to be on guard every moment. Be vigilant only for God and his kingdom, because it's so easy to get sucked back on a day-to-day basis. More on these two paragraphs. We did 6 and 7.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm looking. Yeah, did you have a
Well,
comment?
I was just gonna say, and I think we've led to that, you know, that this kind of goes with what you were saying, is that we don't have to be chosen to make the right decision, because
No.
all are chosen. We can choose anytime.
That's
Mhm.
why this has already been taken care of, awaiting your acceptance. That's why this course guarantees everything. Have you ever noticed that? It's never hesitant about saying anything. It can't lose because it's already happened, awaiting our acceptance. But it just can't be a few. We have to get enough people to do it to where it moves the needle in terms of our species. And that's a whole lot, right?
Mhm.
All right. Who is that? Sherilyn, you kind of were, okay, that's where we left it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? More from you, Sherilyn?
No. Um, I'm still learning the definitions of certain
Sure.
things, and so
Sure.
you got to keep it straight.
Yeah, and understandable. So I try and do a lot of repetition when we're
Yeah,
together.
and it helps. It
And
helps.
I'm glad that it does. We have time to get back to unity and A Course in Miracles if you're interested. We had left off there. We were on page 7, and we were talking about unity principles 3 through 5.
Mhm.
And remember, we're looking at this comparison chart. And on
Yes.
the left column is the unity passages they're bringing out. And on the right column are passages from A Course in Miracles. And when we first started this table, there are 5 unity principles here that they're going to discuss and compare. And it started with unity principles 1 and 2 that defined true reality. And then, not to belabor that, if you'll recall, starting on page 6, they're starting to compare unity principles 3 through 5 with A Course in Miracles. And so within each of these, they may have one or more passages. So long story short, we are starting on unity principle 4 on page 7. And we were kind of pairing up where one would read the unity passage and one of us would read the A Course in Miracles passage. So why don't we start, maybe Ron, if you would do the unity one, and I'll do the Course in Miracles passage.
Yes, that works for me.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 4, under Unity Basic Principles, prayer is creative thinking that heightens the connection with God, mind, and therefore brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and everything good.
And here's A Course in Miracles. Prayer is the medium of miracles. It is a means of communication of the created with the Creator. Through prayer, love is received, and through miracles, love is expressed. Shall we continue? Ron, why don't you do the next one, and let's stay here for number 4, principle 4.
Okay.
Mhm.
Prayer is the most highly accelerated mind action known. It steps up mental action until man's consciousness synchronizes with the Christ mind. It is the language of spirituality. When developed, it makes man master in the realm of creative ideas.
The Bible emphasizes that all prayer is answered, and this is indeed true. The very fact that the Holy Spirit has been asked for anything will ensure a response. And comments there?
Very much the same.
Yeah.
So according to the Course, the Holy Spirit will always respond to any questions we have. Always.
And as I would venture to say, always, not will always. So here, look at lesson 358 in the workbook. Okay. Somebody read that lesson title. Somebody read the lesson right quick. It's short. Whoever's first.
Which lesson was it? What number?
358.
358? Okay,
Yes.
I got it, if you want, if that's okay.
Right. Well, is everyone there? So Deb reads to everyone. We good? Go ahead, Debbie. Thank you.
No call to God can be unheard nor left unanswered. And of this I can be sure. His answer is the one I really want.
So
Not
that says the same thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's,
But here's the thing. Let me read again. It says I'm back into the Unity and ACIM book, page 7. The Bible emphasizes that all prayer is answered, and this is true. The very fact that the Holy Spirit has been asked for anything will ensure a response. So, are you in agreement?
absolutely.
Have all your prayers been answered?
There's
Yeah,
a
Seriously?
country western song that says something about thank God for unanswered prayers. Have you ever heard
Yeah.
that?
No.
yeah,
And
yeah.
just on a do the math level, has every one of your prayers been answered? You'd probably say no, if I'm being honest. I didn't see all of them answered, but it's that last phrase in 358 that helped me. Okay. But of this, you can be sure his answers are the ones you want. So here's the thing, and again, we're all talking about let those who have eyes see and those who have ears hear. What if all my prayers were answered, but I didn't recognize them because they didn't look the way I thought they should?
Mhm.
That doesn't mean they weren't answered. They're just not
Yeah,
what you hoped
just-
for.
And so
Yeah.
you missed the miracle because you didn't appreciate it.
Mhm.
It's not that you're mean, it's just that we're encultured to the point where natural, normal things we call miracles. Remember that principle that says miracles are everyone's right, but no, something is wrong when they are not happening in those principles of miracles?
Yes. Right.
All to God can be left unheard, be unheard nor left unanswered. So I just have to change my perception and realize these answers have to be win-win answers. Holy Spirit can't make you a winner and somebody else a loser. So the things that are done may seem unusual in the ways of love. Yes?
Right.
Mhm.
But now that you're more aware of what you're looking for, you'll see them popping up and call them miracles.
Yeah.
But they should be the norm. Lesson 77. I am entitled to these things. This is my natural inheritance. I've always had it, but I blocked it with my own misperceptions, my own miscreations, my own selfish ways, instead of being part of a whole. I wanted my own separate heaven, right, Dee?
Yeah.
Do you see what the tiny mad idea wrought? Do you see why we talk about it so much, or whether it's on Monday or Tuesday nights? More comments on this. There's one more short passage. I thought, wait a minute.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, Ron, you say we must pray, right, on page 8?
Yes.
Mhm. Please read that one.
So we must pray, believing that we have received and we shall receive.
True prayer must avoid the pitfall of asking to entreat. Ask rather to receive what is already given, to accept what is already there. What is it? I do not know my own best interest, lesson 24. And then in lesson 25, it says, everything is in my own best interest. I didn't know that before. I thought it was good and evil. Well, it was, but the evil was transformed into good so that it's going to all be good. Even your perceptions are going to be good. I got you. You're not left alone and bereft. Children, your thoughts? Or is Jim just spouting off? Or, I mean, does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think, you know me, I always gotta throw my 2 cents worth in, but I think the whole point is connection. It doesn't really matter what the prayer is about, what the question is. The point is to connect.
So that is the practice. The practice isn't to do something. The practice is to connect with the one who knows what to do. Lesson 49. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. How much of a day do you get listening to the voice for God? It's not the voice of God that's not there, it's that we're not there. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
See, in wholeness, things will work like, here's Sadhguru again, okay? Does a good gardener know the name of every grasshopper in his garden? No, he just provides for everyone's good. All are called. It's out, it's there, but few choose to listen. How are we doing? Is this helpful to you?
Mhm.
Yes.
Does it help you to live like this every day more and more?
It takes a long while to get there. For me, it is, I
Yeah, but
agree. It's helpful. It's good. It's right. You have
stop
to think about
resisting.
it. Yeah. Or take the time, to be a part of it.
It's a whole new way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's called not thinking. Thinking as little as possible. Thinking has practical applications, keeping appointments, not walking into a tree, not getting into car accidents. But, okay, other than that, stay in a different zone. Stay in that song of prayer. Stay in that connection. The one that's not asking for stuff, the one that's grateful for stuff.
You have to listen too. I think I find myself more and more. I'll have a thought, and it'll just be there, and I think, I've got to react to that. That's probably where I need to be.
Where do you go for your reaction, though?
Well, what I'm saying is you have to listen.
Yes. It's not the knee jerk that we've been taught.
No.
It's the counting to 10. It's the being open to hearing.
Right.
It takes a lot of getting used to
Yeah.
have that thing run you 24/7. But it's perfectly capable of doing that. It's not that it can't do it, it's that we won't let it.
Right.
But once you start seeing it, it'll be very compelling, and it'll get to the point where you'll wonder how you would ever lived any other way. It's peaceful. It's happy. What do y'all think? Can I get a witness, or is your life better by letting go, or no?
Definitely.
Tell us.
My life is, sometimes I get some of my questions like reframed, like, is this the question you really want to ask? Or maybe it
was a defensive mechanism instead of just dealing with, okay, it's a whole different set of responses. Attack in any form is never justified. Can you do that 24/7, not attack?
No, probably not. Probably not.
And yet the course says, yes, you can. This becomes the practice. And you'll say, that's hard. I don't want to do that. But when you see it start paying rewards, it gives you more enthusiasm to keep trying at it because it worked better than what you used to do. Can I get a witness? It's okay. Show of hands. Somebody. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of saying, no, I can't do that, we can say, not yet. I haven't been able to do that yet.
I haven't been able to do it, but I'm open. Okay, notice you don't even have to say I can do it. You can say I don't know, but I'm open. Show me, help me, teach me. Only infinite patience produces immediate results. So I asked for help and I act as though I received it. It just takes a minute for it to blossom here in this realm, because it has to work within the obstacles of time and space that we've imposed on it. Yes?
Yes.
But no call to God can be unheard nor left unanswered. And do me a favor here, if you would, Sherilyn, let's finish this section so we'll be ready for chapter 2 next week.
Okay.
Did we? Oh, wait, we didn't finish the chart.
We didn't do 5, did you? Number
Can
5
we
yet.
do 5 and do Sherilyn and Debbie on 5.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Number 5, knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are not enough. A person must also live the truth that he or she knows. Each of us, oh, do you want to? Okay.
Let's switch over to Debbie for the
Yeah,
course
okay.
exclusion.
A theoretical foundation, such as the text, provides Okay, let me start over, sorry. A theoretical foundation, such as the text provides, is necessary as a framework to make the exercises in this workbook meaningful. Yet it is doing the exercises that will make the goal of the course possible.
Mhm. And Sherilyn, the next statement on your column?
Each of us unfolds according to understanding and realization. Whether our understanding is little or great, we must demonstrate the truth we know.
Your mission is very simple. You are asked to live so as to demonstrate that you are not an ego. This is not a course in the play of ideas, but in their practical application.
So it'll work if you work it. You must have theory plus application. As a matter of fact, for anything to work, you must have theory / application. One thing. You have to perceive it and you have to act on it, or nothing happens. Isn't that what these passages are offering?
Yes.
So do you see why I'm so big on taking your ideas out of the prayer closet and into your day? That's the practice. It's the combination that bears the fruit, not just one by itself. Do you see how all things that work must be joined?
Yes.
And do you see how they don't work when they're apart? Do you see how many people talk the talk but don't walk the walk? How many metaphors for this do you know of? We having a good time? We finished all the way up to page 8 now. We just have a little more and we'll be ready for chapter 2 next time, okay?
Okay.
All right. Oh, we did both things again. I love it. And we'll start here. Let me close. It says statements 1 and 2 define the nature of reality. 3 through 5 are the practices to awaken or move toward a higher conscious awareness of our eternal oneness with God. While the table shows the commonality of the two teachings, we will expand on this further as we provide deeper insights into the topical explanations of the two schools of thought. So I'm enjoying this and I hope you all are too. Thank you for staying a few minutes over. I hope you thought it was worth it. I see Kathleen didn't make it tonight, but she'll get to see the recording. Any final comments or questions tonight? All right. Then
Oh, I was just gonna say, thank you for letting me join, and I'm so excited because I'm going to a retreat later in the year, and
Yes.
Paul Hasselbeck is one of the speakers.
All right. Just a coincidence, right?
Yeah, isn't that a funny coincidence? Yeah.
It would have to be funny since there are no coincidences. Enjoy. That's well deserved, I'm sure. Thanks,
Thank you.
Debbie.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys. I'll see you next time. All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have
Thank
a
you.
blessed
Thank you,
week
Jim.
coming
Thank
up.
you, Jim.
See you soon.
Have a
Bye-bye.
blessed week, everybody.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.